Welcome back, people. We are here for another show, another episode of the Premier League fan debate, and we have got an elite panel. I've got Dave with me, I've got Connor with me, Emilio back in the house, and I have got Dave Asprey. Matty should be joining us very soon, talk a little bit on Ivan Toney, who's apparently going in the summer. But I thought we'd start with the breaking news that football is now introducing, potentially, blue cards. I don't know what people's thoughts are about it, so I'm going to open the floor to anybody to give me an understanding of what the hell this is all about. Sin bins in football, yellow cards and red cards remain. There will be an introduction of the blue card, they believe, from next season, which will be a sin bin. It looks to me as if we're trying to go down the rugby route now and trying to go down that potential. But I think there's already so many stoppages in football as it is with VAR. Actually, you're probably going to have to set aside 3 hours soon to go and watch a game of football. It is scary. I'll open the floor to you, lads. Blue cards. What are people's opinions on this? Seriously,
we don't even know. When you look at a foul, we all have different opinions of it. And what foul is going to get a blue card? You know, that's the other thing, isn't it? Significant. I think they said serious foul play. You know, when you're doing that cynical tackle when someone's going through, at the moment you get a yellow or possibly a red, and they're going to give it a blue. But the interpretation by referees all season has been different. Every single ref looks at it differently. And for me, blue cards won't work. And you'll get the sin bin, and then they won't get out the sin bin on time. Look when they make substitutions or someone's ill, or sort of been injured, not ill, and how long the referee waits to wave them on and all that sort of crap. And then you're going to have lots of people going, too much time off the field. He should have come on a minute ago. He didn't get on because the referee wasn't looking, or there wasn't an appropriate break in play. No, not for me. It might work in rugby, but I don't think it can work in football. I think football's a stronger game for that sort of thing. Rugby, it's very obvious most of the time when they make a huge mistake. In football, we all have different interpretations of it, you know, and I think that's the issue. And VAR has different interpretations. Then do VAR get involved in blue cards? You know, we're going to have 20 minutes extra time at this rate, I think.
Yeah, I quite agree with you, Dave. And don't know what constitutes a blue card. No idea. Is it swearing at a ref? You deserve to go off on a sin bin. Is it that foul was in between a yellow and a red? There's a blue card sin bin. What the hell does it all mean? And again, it's grey areas yet again in football, which we spoke about. VAR being frustrating for. Like, the goal line technology is black and white. It's either over or it ain't. It buzzes if it is, and if it ain't, then it ain't buzzed. So for me, that's black and white. But these grey areas in football are mad, and I think blue cards are just going to confuse things for me. It ain't going to make it any better. I don't mind introducing sin bins. That's not really the point. I don't really care about that. That's not really the issue. But it's about the rules being changed and not being able to get any consistency with the rules and make them black and white, man. What's your opinions on this, lads?
Yeah, and I think, look, I've got a perspective here, is like, you know, again, being a little bit, looking at the small clubs perspective here. You know, often I'm generalizing here, and I know I've got a lot of people on the show, watching the show who support bigger clubs in Fulham, but we know the smaller clubs don't always get the run of the ball, don't get the right decisions. Some of the bigger clubs get away with blue murder. I'm generalizing here, but this may stop. So, you know, some of these other big teams get away with blue murder with a yellow card. They can afford a yellow card. Can therefore then going down to 10 men for 10 minutes. That will stop some of the decisions that don't always go favourably for the smaller club. I'm looking at it here, like I said, with a smaller club head on and a hat on. And I agree with what Dave said. There's too many stoppages in football. As long as they can define what constitutes down the scope of these blue cards, I think there's potentially a bit of room there. It may result in a more level playing field across the pitch, because I just sometimes feel when you've got yellow cards, big clubs can substitute that player off. And if they're literally replacing like smaller clubs, I think will benefit having that 10-minute advantage, and it will stop those bigger clubs, you know, doing those cynical fouls or getting away sometimes with blue murder. So I'm thinking it from a positive perspective. How does it benefit a smaller club, smaller squad, less capacity, injury prone? And like I said, Fulham, you know, we're not blessed with a big squad at the moment, many injuries. We need to benefit from those moments where other clubs do something cynically and so forth. And then maybe that's an advantage to get a little bit closer to these teams. So I'm just looking at it from that side of the fence rather than purely looking at there's too many rules, too much comment. The game's going to last for 2 or 3 hours, but look at it from a smaller club. Dave, Connor, you know, we're all supporting clubs in the lower half of the division. Well, I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, we were up against 10 men towards the end of that game at the at Dean Court on Sunday. It didn't make any difference. We couldn't take advantage of it. I mean, to me, in the round, it just seems like the administrators are sitting there thinking we have to justify our existence. We haven't had this week's gimmick. It's almost like sometimes I always feel like a lot of coaches like, well, I have to make a substitution just so everybody can see that I'm actually doing my job. Sometimes doing nothing is the best thing to do. I mean, it's just another level of complexity. It's another level of, football. A game of football is, 2 lots of 45 minutes of generally what you want is you want fluid movement. And you don't want that fluid movement to be halted. Here we are now. I mean, it works in rugby because rugby is a game of set pieces. I mean, they talk about phases. So I think they can do it in that. I personally don't see the point of it. And as Dan says, we're adding, we're going into another grey area. Maybe a grey card would be better than a blue card. I mean, how long before we get a green card, a black card, a purple card, a paisley coloured card? I mean, where do we go from here, really? It all strikes me as a little bit people justifying their existence. I do kind of see where Emilio's coming from about the perceived, bias against the big guns. But to me, it just seems like it's, there was no outcry for it, and I think Dan Potts' original point about it, certainly the best colour really is with the goal line technology that is black and white. So I'm ambivalent at best, cynical about it at worst.
As long as they're black and white with what those rules are. So again, if you swear to the referee, you're out the pitch 10 minutes. That will stop some of these, some of the smaller clubs can benefit from that. So I mean, how much? I mean, I could talk the whole show about incidents where our smaller clubs have had a sending off incurred, and the bigger clubs less so. So you know what? It may make a level playing field. It may stop that, that back chat, swearing. So as long as they define those rules, very clear boundaries. If they haven't got those boundaries, then like you said, then it's going to go into that grey area. But define those rules.
That is the point, though, isn't it? That is really the point, because that is another black and white thing. If you're swearing or being nasty to the referee, that is totally black and white.
Yeah.
You either do it or you don't. And so you can be penalised for that. But if it was something like, one of those tugbacks where if this guy gets away from you, he's going to get through and maybe get an opportunity, sometimes they're missed, sometimes they're given, sometimes they're not given. Yeah. But the black and white bit, that works, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
If it's, again, goal line technology. If it's black and white, it works. If it's got an opinion, us six will all have a different one of an incident. And in fact, that happened to me at the weekend with Ross Barkley's, which I thought was a free kick. Everybody else tells me it's not, but I still think it was. So, that's...
Goalkeeper time wasting, same thing there. If you don't kick the ball within so many seconds, the goalkeeper goes off for 10 minutes. What does that mean for the game? So, let's put a clear definition of rules,
Well, I think one of the other new rules they're looking to bring in is a goalkeeper time waste too much, then they concede a corner. Come on.
Yeah.
We're talking about a product which is regarded as the greatest game on earth.
Yeah.
And it's greatest when it's at its simplest. Can you imagine, the great players of the past coming back and seeing like blue cards and VAR and all this kind of thing. It seems like it seems like rather than evolution, it's just tampering to me.
This is a great comment here for me. Learn how to use yellow cards and red cards first before adding blue cards.
Spot on. Agree with that.
Absolutely spot on, man.
Yeah.
And
wisdom.
Connor, what do you think? What are you saying, bro?
I mean, I agree with both of the Daves. I think it'll ruin the fluidity of the game. I get what Emilio's saying, but I just don't trust that it's going to be used to stop that. I don't think it's going to be used in a way to help the smaller clubs. I think it's going to be used. I don't trust that it won't be used to actually benefit the bigger clubs. And a lot of the time, if you're playing City, some of the time, the only way you can try and match them is to kick them a little bit. And I don't want to see our teams kicking them and then getting like 4 players sent off. But I also think, is it needed, or similar to the comment just then about the red and yellows, you don't just need to be a little bit stricter on the rules. So swearing at the referee should already be I think that should already be taken in a serious matter where they are being asked to leave the pitch on a red. It's the same in rugby. You're not meant to swear at the ref then. So is a blue card needed? And then it's more messing about and faffing about, or do we just need to be a little bit stricter on the rules we already have? Plus, it just, it just, like Dave said, it's just tampering, isn't it? And we're already this season with VAR. I've not had a weekend where the media aren't talking about a bad referee or VAR call all weekend. This is meant to be one of the best games in the best league in the world. And every weekend, the play is overshadowed by something a referee has or hasn't done, or VAR has or hasn't seen. And this is just another element. Next year, it'll be the same. If you're a good referee, a good VAR assistant, we shouldn't need to know who you were in the box or on the field. If you do your job well enough, nobody should know your name, because you're only meant to carry the game on. You're not meant to be the superstar in it. So why put more of a chance for it to be about the referees and not the players or the teams?
Do you know what, Connor? That's a great point, mate. I watched this week, I watched the smashing match of the night, which was Plymouth against Leeds in the driving rain, right? And it was a smashing game. There was no controversy. It was refereed beautifully by Robert Jones, who was the guy who sent Willie Bolly off at our place against Bournemouth. Now, that weekend, he was dragged over the coals and not helped. You know, he made a decision. It was a bad decision. All that. I watched him referee the other night. The commentators were saying what a great job he did. And I go back to what I said to somebody in the City Ground last night when we had VAR moments. How much controversy in the Championship this year, or League One, or League Two?
Yeah, very true. Very
Facts,
true.
man. Matt, where do you stand on this one, bro?
It just exacerbates a problem that is already like the forefront of the Premier League, which is bad refereeing decisions. And I think, to Connor's point, and I probably came in midpoint about it favouring bigger clubs, like every team down the bottom of the league. Like, I feel like I went to Brentford City the other night, the Tottenham game away the other week. I feel like we didn't get a decision, stuff not getting checked by VAR, let alone like the decision not going the right way. Also, the VAR in stadiums is just stinking. Like, it was sold to everyone that didn't want it. Like, no one bought it, but it was pitched in as this, like, there'll be 99.999% it would be right, and it's not. Like, it's not the technology, it's the people using it. So how on earth we think we're going to introduce a blue card on top of a red and a yellow? And to Connor's point, like, use those two cards; those work effectively. The one thing I'd say about the dissent thing, which I can't remember what game I was watching the other day, but the refs was having an absolute stinker, and it wasn't a Brentford game. But like, when players get wound up and the ref has made a terrible decision, and then they get frustrated by that, it's very hard to draw a line under it. And having played over the years as well, everyone's like, it's the ref's decision at the end of the day. But when you've seen the ref make 3 or 4 absolutely howling decisions, it's quite hard to not be like, it's not a very good decision, ref, or whatever the players would say in those instances. But like, maybe that's the only real thing I could see, that maybe it takes the sting out of it rather than showing 2 yellows for like a dissent and whatever. But ultimately, nah. Like, I just think we've got so many problems at the moment. It's almost like Chelsea throwing money at problems to try and fix things. Like, I just think adding new variants to a failing equation doesn't equal success. Like, it's not. Like, that's not the way to do it. And I think, we've got big problems at the moment, and I think we need to sort out VAR before anything else is introduced into the game.
Yeah, facts, man. Absolutely. I think it's a bit of a shambles if they bring. It's actually taking the piss, really. It's like, our VAR obviously doesn't need working on. Let's bring in the next thing, which is blue cards. It's like, come on, man. Hang on. Like, we ain't got anything right yet before we start introducing new things. But listen, Matty, I'm going to stay with you, bro, because Ivan Toney looks to be leaving this summer. It's kind of boring probably now for you. But
yeah.
Thomas Frank has come out and said that it's looking likely that he'll probably leave. He's got a year left, and Ivan Toney himself has made it quite clear, in my opinion anyway, that he's probably going to look to move on in the summer. Do you just want it to be done now this summer? Do you just kind of want to move on from this and go and get the new guy in and try and move forward? Or where do Brentford fans see this? Because he's come back and been professional, to be fair to him. He's come back and played well. The last couple of games where he has been, I mean, he started with a bang. A little bit of shithousery to score a free kick the way he did, but I kind of liked it, if you get me.
No comment.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, just on that one as well, I thought it was quite bad. But if you look at the Nottingham Forest wall, which is about a yard and a half in front of the line as well.
True.
That's true. Where's your thoughts on this one, brother?
I just want it to be done, and no bad way. And I was on a Deji Spurs show the other night as well, kind of talking about it, and like,
Big up Deji.
Yeah, I just want it to be done early. I can't see it being done early. I can see it dragging on all summer and going into a bit of a bidding war. But I just like it to be done and dusted, because then that amount of money is something that Brentford haven't really deployed in the market before. Like, I don't think we'll go for obviously like replacement, but even buying 2 players for joint thing of 65, 70 million is going to be massive. We were close to buying what's his name? The lad that failed the medical the other day, Nusa. That would have been about 35 million, so it would have been a big signing. But I just want to get it done. I just think get it over and done with. Don't let it be speculation. I'm glad he's come back. I'm glad we didn't get rid of him in January. I think he won't be a mercenary. Like, he'll still play till the end to the summer, and then just deal with it professionally, get him going. And I said at Deji's show the other night as well. People say, he said that thing on the boat a few years ago about Brentford and like fuck Brentford and this, that, and the other. But ultimately, not many players or not any players in that Brentford team came up supporting Brentford. So it's a bit different to having the likes of like an Arsenal or a Liverpool or United, where, a few of those kids came through the ranks and they've been there at the academy and they've supported them. Like, no one in that Brentford team supports Brentford. And I think every single one of them is looking around in 2 years being like, if I have a good, solid couple of seasons, I could be in Champions League. And I don't fault them for it at the end of the day. Like, if as long as everything's done properly, there's no qualms in them kind of aspiring to move to a big 6 club.
Where do you think he's going, man? Do you think it's going to be Arsenal? Do you think it's going to be Spurs, Chelsea? What are you saying?
I would personally like to see him at Arsenal. I think you lot will fumble the deal somehow. I've just got a terrible feeling that it's going to be lined up and you're gonna drop it. Been more and more linked with Spurs, although I think that's mostly from overexcitable Spurs fans than actual reality. But I may live to eat those words. Liverpool, I just find it weird because obviously with Nunes there as well. Like, I don't think, unless we're going back to old 4-4-2 days, I can't see that being maybe it is time to revolutionise the game, but like, I can't see that working. So really and truly, Arsenal should be the front runners. I guess there's going to be a lot hinging on how the David Raya deal pans out as well, and kind of like what goes on there. But I would think Arsenal. I don't think it'd be 100 million as well. I think it would be like probably a 65 plus add-ons or something like that. I can't see him. I think he's got 1 year left on his contract as well. So I think the 100 million chat is just to kind of like raise that profile a bit more and then take a kind of an 80 million max.
Well, listen, I hope it ain't going to be a crazy amount of money if we are in for him, because I do rate the lad. But at the same time, if it's comparisons of him or Osimhen and it's like Osimhen's 120 release clause and Toney's 100, then people will probably look towards Osimhen being younger and looking to be a absolute beast. The only problem with that is it's probably riskier because Toney's already doing it already in the league. So
yeah,
it's difficult to look at. I know Emilio, you're a big fan, obviously, Osimhen, Napoli.
Yeah.
And a player that I do rate, and I think you rate. But Toney, I mean, what would you say? Toney, Osimhen? What do you reckon, Emilio?
To be honest with you, Osimhen's having a poor season. Again, he gets quite emotional. With Napoli we've changed our style of football in Italy, and we've changed. We're on manager number 2 of the season. Spalletti resigned from the role. He went in managing the national team. Couple changes. We're struggling this year. We'll be lucky if we get into Europe next season, let alone finishing in the Champions League. And Osimhen's struggling with injuries this season. His motivation, he gets quite emotional. So when things don't go according to plan, he can be a little bit of a child at times. He's high maintenance, so he's higher risk. If it was last season, I would say he was probably the informed striker in the world. But this season, he's struggling. The team's struggling. The managers aren't really delivering. I think he's high risk. I don't think he's worth 120 million. Obviously, he's in the Africa Conference final this weekend. So again, hopefully he wins it. And obviously we've got a couple of Fulham players there in the finals. I want to call that out. We never get any credit, but we've got 2 players in the bloody final.
We've got 3.
We got 1.
Yeah, Aina, Willy Bolly, and Sangari.
Exactly. So
and Sir Aurier, it would have been it, but he's just gone to Galatasaray.
For me, if you want a lower risk option, go for Toney. And to be honest, he's hit the ground running since he's come back from his ban. Let's be honest. He's scoring goals, contributing, a threat already. That shows the level of quality he is. And I've seen some comments here. He's 28. So 60, 65 million seems about right. But if you want a short-term option, depends if you win the league. Dan, if you win the league, Osimhen might be someone you want to buy strategically. But if you sort of miss out on the league, you're probably going to need someone else just pushes you to the next level, and maybe Toney will be a better option there. So I think a lot will depend on, where you finish in the league this season.
Yeah, massively. I mean, that's absolutely key. Let's flip things on its head and let's talk Luton because Dave, man, mix of emotions. Sounds like you're buzzing this season, man. I literally look out for your results every week, watch Luton, and some of the players are really starting to impress. Ross Barkley we knew about, but Adebayo's really come into the mix the last few weeks. Obviously, Ogbene's been fantastic as well for Luton, and some unsung heroes, man. You must be living the dream, bruv.
I am indeed. Listen, who'd have thought that me, with little old Luton, would be having the time of his life in this division, and how the people have. Oh, yeah, Dave, you always said that. To be fair, but the worm is turning, isn't it? With all the pundits, with other clubs, we're not the pushover that people thought we would be. We've lost 1 in 9 in all competitions. I'm having a great time. A little bit disappointed on Saturday. Going up to Newcastle, being 4-2 up, and I was going to be happy with a point, but then we get to 4-2, and you give it away really. But it's Newcastle, so we'll take that. But we are on a bit of a roll right now. It'll be typically Luton on Saturday to not beat Sheffield United. That would be a typical Luton thing to do. But this is a really big weekend for us. Our players, though, are being noticed too. Ogbene, he was brilliant on the weekend. He was quick down the wing. His positioning was good. His passing was good. Adebayo has always been a good striker, always. And if you think about Ivan Toney, he came from a lower league. So did Adebayo. He's finding his feet. I think he's got quite a few goals. I think 6, 7, could be 8. Can't remember because we scored so many in the last 2 games. In fact, so I'm really loving it. Mengi from Man United, another standout. And even Lokonga, for me, he's playing some good football. He links up with Barkley quite well. And obviously Ross Barkley, everyone's thinking he should get an England call. I don't know if that's too far in front right now, but he's playing some brilliant football. He's pivotal in that midfield. He set up a couple of goals at the weekend. And the start we had at Brighton was down to him. We had 2 goals in 2 minutes, 17 seconds. And the ball was in play for 90 seconds. The rest of it was a VAR check. So, we started really well. And we're on this bit of a roll. We've got a brilliant manager in charge. And I just feel that all those doubters, except for Garth Crooks, all those doubters are now going, do you know what? Luton aren't that bad. They based it on we had the smallest pitch in the league. Well, I'm telling you, we don't. It's Fulham. They have the smallest pitch in the league. And we haven't got the smallest stadium either. It's Bournemouth. And they based all their details on the wrong thing. And now the team is performing. Now we're getting the recognition we deserve. And, we're in a fight. And we have got a good chance of bumping up the league. Brentford have been pulled back into the mire right now. And I look at the weekend's fixtures and I'm thinking, goodness me, if we can beat Sheffield United, I fancy everyone else to lose, and if everybody else does lose or don't get 3 points, we're bumping up to 15th, and no one would have said that, Luton. They thought we'd be rock bottom. So in answer to your question, Dan, I'm having a glorious season. I'm enjoying the away games. I'm enjoying the whole home games. And I genuinely feel we have a good chance of staying in this division right now. That might change in a couple of weeks when we've played Liverpool, Villa and Manchester City. It might change. But at this moment in time, I'm thinking we've got a great chance. And I think the defining week for us will be in March when we have Crystal Palace. Then we have Bournemouth and then we play Nottingham Forest. I think that could be a real big defining week for us. But this weekend could be absolutely glorious. But let's be fair. I've seen Luton do the stupidest of things, play well like they would play for the last 2 games and then come up against someone like Sheffield United and not perform. But the players are really up for it. And I think Ross Barkley said today he's never played in a team that's been so together before. There's no prima donnas in our team. There's no stars in our team. They're all together as a bunch. And I think, and no disrespect to any other fans, like Everton are saying, some Everton fans kind of were saying that due to your points deduction, that spurred us on. Well, do you know what? We had a 30-point points deduction that spurred us on, not anyone else. And Lockyer's position has spurred the team on. Of course it has. But I've been watching Luton playing some exceptional football at times. And for me, that is the key. We're not the hoofball merchants that people think we are. We play some decent football and we've got some decent strikers. And I'm loving every single second of it. And I genuinely hope that we get 3 points at the weekend. It's been amazing. And do you know what? It won't be long before people come knocking for our players if we don't stay up.
Absolutely, mate, 100%. I mean, even some Arsenal fans I know are looking at Lukonga now going, oh, what's all this about? Not me, personally. I think Lukonga's found the level that he's able to get regular football and playing time, and good luck to the lad. And I think that's the level that he should be looking at, trying to be his top dog at somewhere like Luton to take you up further. But that just proves credit to yourself and your manager because of how players like that and Ross Barkley have turned their careers around. So fair play, man. I'll bring Dave and Connor in on this point as well, because obviously you're down the bottom with Luton. Starting to get worried a bit, Connor. I mean, obviously Everton without their points deduction wouldn't really be near this conversation, and some would say, but obviously you're there at the moment. It seems like Luton, like, have you got a lot of respect for what they're doing at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, on the spurring them on, I have seen a couple of fans from our end saying that, but I mean, even if it has, which it shouldn't do, because if we're not there, you know, there's Forest that is still 24 for Luton. But even if it is, I don't see the issue with that either, though. Like, you take any way you can to stay in the league, don't you? You know, we stayed up on the last day, on the last game last season. We don't care. We stayed up. You know, you take that if somebody's had points deductions and that does make the players go, oh, there's a chance, then there's nothing wrong with that. But I do think Luton, out of the three that have come up, have the most about them for adapting to Premier League football and have done. You've had some really tough results. The Liverpool game, I think it was the Arsenal game where you've lost, where you could argue you should have come out with at least a point. Yeah. So it's not like an overnight success. The writing's been on the wall and the statistics have backed it up in a lot of their games that they probably deserve a bit better. But I am getting a bit nervous. I'm hoping for a dip in. I mean, there's a couple that I think, if they're not careful, are going to sleepwalk into it as well. I don't think Crystal Palace are out of it. I think they've just had like 3 really big injuries: Elise, Eze, and Gay. They're 3 big players to be missing, and Roy Hodgson, who's not a popular manager with a lot of support. I think Palace could potentially be sleepwalking into the fight. I think Brentford will be okay. Nottingham Forest, that depends on the points as well. We've got an appeal for our first points. I'm not expecting anything back, but if we do, that puts pressure. And again, that spurs us on, and people will go, oh, well, Everton have only got something in them because they've got those points back. Yeah, and it's the exact same as the Luton thing. Like, if somebody above you gets knocked off point, like if no offense, Dave, but if Forest get points deducted, everybody below them, including myself, who knows how it feels, is going to look with optimistic eyes and hunger of, this makes us have a better chance. That's just football, isn't it? It's competitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't win any points for going, oh, no, it should be us going down. Sorry.
Yeah, 100%, man. Just quickly, Connor, you got a great chat from Rich, who's a big Everton fan. You're taking Bartley back on this form.
It's nice to say. Well, I don't know if it's nice to see him doing well. He is doing well. But I mean, I don't think Luton are in a position, if they stay up, where they need to sell it. And I don't know if he'd be as welcome back. The fan base is still very split on the way he left us, despite his form. I don't know. I think the way he left us has left a sour taste in our mouths. So I'm not too sure if I would take him back. But he is playing well.
Possibly, Connor, the way he bossed it when he came to Goodison twice. Maybe that didn't help either.
No.
Stick the knife in.
Yeah, probably. I twisted it as well. Big up, Dave. I must say, Connor, I think you'll be fine. I don't think Everton will go down, because I think Sean Dyche has just got this way of playing, which basically is hard to beat you, as Tottenham found out the weekend. Right at the end, never say die attitude, Branthwaite. I think your defensive record, correct me if I'm wrong, is pretty good. Obviously, Jordan Pickford, and your back line, Branthwaite, Tarkowski. If anyone wants any FPL points, then big up, because they've been doing quite well. To be fair,
Pickford have the most clean sheets in the league until the other day.
Something like that. I saw it and I thought it was Alisson, and then I see it, or Edison, then I see it was actually Pickford. I mean, that is Dyche for you, isn't it? That is like, make us hard to beat. Don't care who we've got, but you are going to struggle to get 3 points against us. And they've done that. We found it difficult at Goodison Park. We scored, we got it in the end 1-0, but it wasn't like we blitzed you 4-5. And I think a lot of teams are going there now under Dyche and seeing what he did at Burnley and thinking, oh, yeah, this is a tough place. Nobody goes to Goodison going, oh, that's a nice game. Or we'll get a nice breeze here, 3 points this season. some of that's the fans making it difficult as well. But really, Sean Dyche just has managers' numbers, and I think that's why Everton will stay up. But are you fairly optimistic, Connor?
Yeah, I mean, you can only. It depends. We are still, as Forest are, we are still in for a second charge of points as well. So it depends if we get more points taken off us. I think if we get a second lot of 10 taken off us, I think that's us done. But in terms of on the field, I don't think you could ask for much more off the players and the manager for what they're doing. If we had our points back, we'd be just under Chelsea. And like you said, they make it hard to play there. A lot of the teams as well, like Spurs, like I said before we came on, I thought we were the better team. Stats suggest.
You good, Connor? His Wi-Fi's gone, isn't it? Dave, I'm sure he'll pop back. Dave, let's bring Forest in. If you get the points deduction, it's looking pretty bad. But at the moment, it's still not looking amazing, and it's not guaranteed Forest will.
No.
I think you're back now, Connor, but I think your Wi-Fi went, bro.
Yeah, apologies for that. Yeah,
that's calm, man. No problem. But yeah, Everton, Luton, and Forest. I was absolutely right about Palace being brought into the mix. I had D on last night, and D was trying to do everything he could to avoid talking about how bad Crystal Palace were.
He's still saying they're going to get a Champions League spot.
What if?
I mean, it's hilarious. He's just talking about how crap West Ham are. I'm sure he actually forgets that he supports Crystal Palace sometimes. It's absolutely hilarious. However, they're in trouble, and they really are in trouble from what I can see. But Forest are ones that just no one wants to not talk about at the moment. They don't want to say they're safe because they're not sure. And I think, like Connor rightly says, Dave, it's up in the air in terms of this points deduction thing and whether that's going to affect you as well. So how are you feeling right now, bro?
Worried, always worried. Because the opposite of worried is complacent and, presumptive. I'm not going there. My view is that we're always in danger, right? Because then, if I come on here, we'll be all right, we'll be fine. I'll fall flat on my backside. I'm not doing that. Do I believe we have the capacity to build a cushion to absorb any points deduction? No, not totally convinced. I'm almost of a mindful. Let's write us. I want to write my own team off, take all the pressure off them. See, the guy above me, right? I look at them and I think I think me and Sam last week we had a conversation, and our admiration of Luton Town is total. Me and Sam both agreed, and I said to Sam and Tom on their fantastic channel that Luton Town have the best weapon of any team in that division. Luton Town have the moral high ground. It was given to them by the naysayers. Rob Edwards goes in his dressing room and he says, "You know what, lads? That lot out there thought that you would lose every single game. They thought you were non-entities." And Rob goes, "I don't think that, then you don't think that. So go and prove them wrong." And Luton Town are making overachievement at the moment an art form. I think they're fantastic. And they are my biggest worry, because if it comes to a straight fight between Nottingham Forest and Luton Town's moral high ground will keep them up. There's no points deductions there. They're well run. They are aware of their parameters. They're aware of what they are. I think with our club, I think nothing ever settles. It's chaotic. There's constant changes. I think we've got an owner who thinks that the laws of physics should be bent to his will. I want everything. I mean, what is it about billionaires? They have no kind of context to life. It's like, I've got lots of money. Everything should go my way. No. I think I said to Sam last week, I'd rather go and get a homeless guy out of a cardboard box under a bridge, say, "Go and run Nottingham Forest for me." We might have a more sort of down-to-earth attitude. I do worry about our owners kind of like, I'd say to him, "Oh, man, chill out a bit. It's not all going to come to you because you can throw money at it." And I just think we've lost that. I mean, with the points deduction, from what I can gather, we did the right thing, but we took too long to do it because the Brennan Johnson deal was everything. Brentford came offering some money on 2 occasions. If Forest had taken that money, they'd have been, making losses. They waited. The Tottenham Hotspur deal got Forest financially to be okay, but it took too long. So it's all about timescales. Now, our KC, Nick DeMarco, is going to argue that, look, with Forest, it wasn't irresponsibility, despite what's gone on before, and it was an attempt to do the right thing. But On the field, I'm seeing some shoots. I think that our disgruntled PE teacher, our new coach, who always looks, he looks like, can you imagine going up to Nuno Espirito Santo for a games lesson saying, Mr. Espirito Santo, I forgot my kit. He'd kick your backside all the way down. Watch his press conferences, and when you watch a Nottingham Forest press conference, you'll be given a lesson in the banality of journalists and their questioning. He looks at me. They're going to ask me what my name is in a minute. They're going to ask me how old I am. I mean, it's just ridiculous. His program notes. I love his program notes. So last night for the Bristol City game, his program notes consisted of 2 sentences. One is, "We're honoured to be in the FA Cup. We'll fight to give you a result," and that was it. And I think our lads, our footballers, I think they're a credit. All the stuff that's going on around them, points deduction, there's nothing to do with them. I do think they're on the field trying their damnedest. I mean, I don't think since Nuno come in, there's been a game where we've been. I mean, I think we were in the Bournemouth game, the first one. We obviously beat Newcastle and Manchester United, and were terrific. Actually, I don't come on here normally saying how wonderful, but they were great. The Brentford game, I thought we were in that. I think the occasion maybe, and who helped them to come through. They only we were outclassed by Arsenal. Arsenal were far too good for us. If Arsenal had decided to have a shot from distance rather than try to intricately walk it in like a dance routine, they'd have won 5 or 6. Arsenal. They were so much better than us. But Sunday at Bournemouth, after a poor start, I thought we came into the game, and me and Sam have had some good conversations about it. Maybe Forest had the lion's share of it. And then last night was tricky, but they battled all the way to a penalty shootout and scored all 5. So I think Forest on the field are battling. Whether they're good enough, I don't know. But you won't stop me being worried.
No, listen, I think absolutely it's right to have it's good to have nerves for sure. Don't want to get too cocky and arrogant like D.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Dan. So just to back up, what I will finally finish by saying is the football under Nuno, with great respect to our fantastic previous manager, the football under Nuno is better than the football
Okay, I was going to ask that. I was going to ask what your thoughts were about that, because a lot of people have kept very quiet about Forest and Nuno. There's only really yourself and Dor that I speak to, but I wanted to know how much improvement you've seen. And I don't watch Forest enough to know what Cooper and Nuno's kind of comparisons was, to be fair. But interesting, very interesting. Look, it's hard to say who's going to go down. Luton, Dave won't like me saying this, but I have always said that I think Burnley, Sheffield United and Luton probably will be the 3 that go down. I'm not going to change my mind, but I don't want to be right. And that sounds really harsh to some of the other people on the panel, but I'd love nothing more than to see Luton stay up. I think the story would be incredible, man. Absolutely incredible. So we'll see. And they've got every chance. Moving a little bit further up the table, Emilio and Sam will come to you next. Fulham and Bournemouth. It's looking like it's the absolute right decision for yourself, Sam, to keep hold of your manager. A lot of people were saying at the start, "Oh God, got to get rid of him. You should never have got rid of O'Neill. You're going down." And I think now it's looking like it was the absolute right decision to keep him, because things at Bournemouth, to be fair, have definitely picked up. And Emilio, likewise at Fulham. I always like watching Fulham. I always think I watch Fulham and they give 110. And I watched them against Liverpool in the Carabao Cups and thought it was quite harsh in certain parts of that game. I just always think that they've got a little bit of fight in them, Fulham. And the signing of Broja now might give you a little bit more of something up top with Jimenez, who's started to score some goals, but is not going to be lethal like a Mitrovic. So boys, I suppose for you it's like no real threat of going down, and just see how far you can get up the table. I suppose, Emilio, is that where you're looking? I don't know.
I think it's still, not maybe being a pessimist at times. We're almost there. We're crawling our way out of trouble at the moment. We're a bit inconsistent. Like the Liverpool game over the 2 legs, I thought we matched them for most of those 2 games. I think there was that moment where Liverpool just got a spring in their step and they won at Anfield and got the 2-1 win. But again, if we were a little bit more clinical, we took our chance. Even the home game, we turned it around to 1-1. And their keeper made us say that the ball just went over the bar. And that, with a bit of good luck, that could have gone in the top of the net, go to extra time. Who knows? Anything could have happened. So, I commend the spirit, the fight in that club over those 2 games. And we've given Liverpool problems in 3 games this year. At Anfield, we lost 4-3 and had the audacity to take a lead to go 3-2 up late in that game. So, But then we played Everton the week before last. I don't know if you saw, I was at the Grand Corner. That was the most bizarre 0-0 I've ever seen. That could have finished 4-4 on another night. The amount of chances created by both clubs, the amount of guilty misses from, I think Everton had more clear-cut chances. Some of those woeful finishing. But again, on another day, we could have got something out of that. Should have won that game. But then Everton will probably come away feeling a little bit hard done by that. But then we go to Burnley on Saturday, cruising, 2-0 up. Bit complacent. I think, Dave, you used the adjective being complacent. I think rather than trying to walk the ball in the net to get the third, we should have been 3 or 4 up. Burnley were absolutely piss poor. Second half, again, we started to dominate, but Leno, God knows what he was doing, came in no man's land, got caught out. Suddenly, in the last 15, 20 minutes, we're in no man's land. That just reminded me of some of his failings at Arsenal, Dan, when I saw, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah.
He's been a little inconsistent of late. He's making a few errors. They're creeping in. He's not the player he was last season, but we threw away 2 points last time. I was absolutely fuming. Burnley are piss poor, and they've got 4 points over us this season. But notwithstanding that, we've got Bournemouth down this weekend at home. We've got to get some revenge there because we were awful at your ground on Boxing Day, 3-0 hammering, to be honest. So we've got to turn that down. We win that game, then I think, we can look up. But we lose that. And Luton win, Forest pick up some points. We can get sucked in. We've got a few injuries. Jimenez is out for a month with a hamstring. Wilson's not back to the end of the month. You've got still the 2 players out on African nations duty. So look, we're a little way for thin squad. We've got to win our home games. That's the thing. We've not been as prolific on the road this season. Last year, I think we won a record 7 or 8 games on the road. This year, we've only beaten Everton away at the beginning of the season. That's it. We need to start winning away from home and not do what, Dave, you did at Forest last season, rely on your home form to keep you up. So beat Bournemouth on Saturday, then I think we should be okay. There's enough games to pick up some points, but lose that. We could. I think was it you mentioned it? Connor, there's some clubs that get sucked in. We could be that team. You have a bad run of form, lose 3 or 4 on the bounce. The table could turn very quickly. Brojan will add a bit more quality up front, but that was. We've got nobody else. Who else can play? There's nobody else. We're literally down to the bare bones. So big game on Saturday, 6 points. If Bournemouth lose, maybe Sal, I don't know what your thoughts are. Are you worried then if you lose? So again, I don't want.
That's the thing. You know what? I was thinking about it, and you're only a point fewer than us in the table, but I think form dictates mindset so much because you're thinking let's look over our shoulders here, look at who's beneath us. Whereas we're not thinking that at all. I mean, yes, we got a game in hand, but we're not contemplating that. But obviously, on recent performances, maybe that's where you're going. But for me, I'm not particularly thinking that. I mean, Emilio, I think we last lost at Craven Cottage in 1992. And since then, we've drawn 4 and won 4. So, and Dom Solanke always scores.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I am hoping. By the way, shout out to the person in the chat who said that Forest fan, obviously Dave, looks like a geography teacher. I think he's more physics. I don't know. I'm not getting geography.
See me later, Davis.
See me. Yeah, I love
We'll
that.
We'll discuss quantum.
Yeah, let's do it. Newton's law of motion coming into effect soon, right?
Yeah, Luton's third law.
I did smile when I see it, to be fair. I mean, I don't know what constitutes a geography teacher look alike.
Hey.
Dave, just take it as a compliment, bro. Sam, Solanke, to be fair, I was watching, like Matt said earlier about Pickford being clean sheets. It surprised me. And obviously, Solanke's only 1 goal off Haaland, which is absolutely scary, man. He's been absolutely phenomenal this season. And do you put the manager, how much is that credit to Solanke and how much of it is credit to the manager and the style of play, do you think, bro?
Yeah, look, I think it's funny, having the kind of Gary O'Neill conversation and into Andoni Areola, because when we played Lawless's West Ham recently, I saw him afterwards outside the stadium, and I said, you know what, to the naked eye, we looked at things, and you're 6th in the league, you topped your Europa group, you've just won the Conference League, yet you're all unhappy. But then you see how they play, and then you sort of realise it a little bit. And that felt like what we were feeling as Bournemouth fans under Gary O'Neill. We weren't enjoying what we were watching, but the whole footballing world was saying, "Are you on drugs? Why aren't you pleased under this man?" And look, I think Gary O'Neill, I think he's brilliant, and I'm so pleased at what he's done. at Wolves. I'm absolutely so chuffed. I think the pool of talent he's got to select from is a lot better at Wolves than it was at Bournemouth. They bought players for over 40 million and stuff, and they've got some absolute stars. Whereas at Bournemouth, yeah, you have got some stars, but not as highly rated, I would say. But yeah, absolutely chuffed. But I think the ceiling for Bournemouth under Andoni Areola is that little bit higher. Whereas under Gary O'Neill, whether he would have got there or not, I don't know. But what Gary O'Neill did in terms of Dom Solanke, he asked a lot of Dom Solanke in terms of what he was supposed to do. Like, is he a number 9? Is he a number 10? He wanted him to come deep, collect the ball and stuff. Whereas Andoni sort of said, right, this is what you need to do, score goals. So he's less worried about the assists these days and just, getting in the box and, being a poacher. And, like I spoke to someone the other day, he said he's linked, he was playing for teams like, Chelsea and Liverpool, albeit like as a youngster, they chose to, sign him, not for any reason, they chose to sign him for some reason. And that was because he knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. And thankfully, he's now under a manager that's telling him to do just that rather than all the other stuff that I don't probably think he wants to do. So, yeah, he's absolutely crucial for us. I'm glad we've kept hold of him. And, I'd like to see him sort of hit 20 goals if he could. But he's absolutely integral to the way we play. And, I certainly wouldn't like to envisage a world at Bournemouth without him for now anyway.
Get Ted McDougall to coach him, Sam.
Get Ted McDougall. I introduced Dave to Ted McDougall, who's like star Bournemouth striker from back in the 70s. Scored 9 in the FA Cup back in the 70s. And that was a nice little Friday, wasn't it, Dave?
It was brilliant. When we were talking about Solanke, weren't we, Sam? And Ted was going, he's good, but he could be even better. And I was kind of thinking, Ted, go and show him, because Ted McDougall could score goals.
I love
for
that.
Fulham, mate, you know what I mean?
Love that.
Yeah,
that's class, man. He could be better. You want to go and have a word with him? That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That is class.
My mate, Ted McDougall. Name drop.
Listen, I'm glad you boys met up and had a chat, man. I did watch it. It was a great chat, man.
Needed it.
Really was, man. Listen, to close the show, it's Thursday the 8th of February. We have not done this for a while. I don't like to put people on the spot, but I'm going to do it anyway because it makes it a fun show. Let's start with Luton Dave, shall we? Give me 3 teams that are going to go down.
Not Luton. So I'm going to say, obviously, the obvious 2, Burnley and Sheffield United, with any luck. Then I don't have to worry about them. But I've got this sneaking feeling that, without points deductions, Dave, I think you'll be fine. But I've got a sneaky feeling that it might be Brentford, and I don't know why. I just don't know why. Form hasn't been really great. I've only got a sneaky feeling it might be them. And so that's who I'm going. Oh, I forgot about Everton. Forgot about that points deduction. So you're okay, Matt. It's got to be Everton, hasn't it?
I love a technicality. I do love it.
About that. So you might.
The only reason, Matt.
I just think at the moment, Brentford's form hasn't been brilliant. I think they beat us, really. Hasn't been brilliant. And they're being dragged in, and there's always one, isn't there? There's always one that happens, and I'm fingers crossed it's not us. So that's who I'm going with. Probably ask me a couple of weeks' time when all the fixtures have changed. I might change my mind.
Interesting, man. Listen, I'm gonna stick with what I went with. I said that earlier. I do think it will be the 3 that come up that went down. But if I had to put someone to replace Luton, I'll get rid of D and Palace, man. Just send them down. Embarrassment. Absolutely embarrassing what's happening over there. So I'll go for that. Love you, really, D. Connor, what are you saying, bro?
Again, I think it's going to be Sheffield, Burnley. And I mean, I hope it's not us. I'm really hoping it's not us, but we are there and we're in a bit of, I guess it depends on the next load of points and stuff. But I'm going to go with Forest or Palace. I think the 3 missing from Palace are huge. And they're already struggling. They've got a manager fans don't want. The atmosphere is not exactly brilliant. I think Palace, out of all the ones above us that could sleepwalk, I think Palace have got it in them just because 3 players that are important is bad enough. But when the fans are sort of turning and the atmosphere is turning, I think you're really up against it then.
Interesting, man. Interesting. Big up to Aaron in the chat. Emilio, what are you saying, man? Give me 3 names, bro.
Well, we got Luton last game of the season. Hopefully that's not a relegation decider, to be honest with you. That's the last game I want to be playing at the end of the season. To be honest with you, Luton have got showing enough spirit, right? And we all want them to stay up. Let's be honest. I still worry for Dave from Forest, because you're not setting the world alight. You had that little early spell under Nunes. You won at Newcastle, dominated. It's got a little bit flat recently. You're still in the FA Cup. That's not maybe not what fans want. You want to make sure you stay in the division. There's all this points deduction hanging over your head, and I have a feeling it's going to be between Everton and Forest for that other place. Just only because of the points deduction or the risk of points deduction. I worry for you. I think Luton can keep fighting. There's enough home games, Dave, that you probably can win at home as a Luton fan. Toney's hit the ground running. I don't think Brentford will. I think Brentford will find a way of winning those 6 pointers. But Palace, the sooner they get rid of Roy, I think, then the more likely they'll turn the corner. But they have got a lot of injury. Elise out, a very devastating injury, I think I've seen quoted. So they're missing him. So I to be honest with you, I think Forest and Everton have got the most to worry about. Luton have got nothing to lose. Forest and Everton do have a lot to lose, and that's the key thing. I worry that I haven't seen Forest push on in the last few weeks. You've been a bit stuttering and looking at, not flattering. And Everton, I think you're struggling to score goals. And that's a problem as well. So if I was both your fan, but again, look, Fulham, Brentford, Bournemouth, we have a bad run of form. We can all get sucked into it. Chelsea, why should they be any different? They're getting sucked into it as well.
I'd love it. That's who I want to
nice they could go down, but it's,
I would absolutely love
let's
Chelsea
keep doing this every week. Let's keep tracking, our thoughts and predictions. But I think probably Everton and Forest have probably got the most to lose. That's why I'd be worried if I was.
Interesting. Listen, that's why it's good. Football changes very quickly in a matter of days, a matter of weeks. But if Chelsea went down, I would absolutely love it. I would celebrate it for absolute days. I can't stand them. Sam, what are you saying, bro? 3 names.
Well, there's only 3 teams that haven't won in their last 5 games, and that's the 3 teams in the relegation zone at the moment. I think I've seen enough from Nottingham Forest over the last game that they've turned a corner. Whilst results haven't been incredible, I think the performances have been a lot better. Luton, maybe it's more hope, but I don't know. I don't think they'll go down. I think Thomas Frank's got the know-how at Brentford to get him out of trouble. As much as Roy Hodgson is a dinosaur, they have their record the last 5's loss, win, loss, win, loss. So, and he's got the experience. Let's be fair; he's about 205 years old. I think, sadly, I think Everton's form recently has been really poor, and twin that with a points deduction as well. If that happens, I'm sort of approaching it with there not being any points deductions. But even still, I think Sean Dyche has got the know-how, but I fear for them recently, especially after their form. So on form, I'm going to go for the bottom 2 plus Everton.
Interesting, man. Matty.
It is a tough one. Also, as well, just to say that it is such a shame that we have to talk about potential of points deductions.
Yeah,
as well. It's a whole separate show. But we're talking about introducing blue cards, and I know it's a different point of the game, but we're sat here deliberating who's going to go down based on if they get a 10-point deduction or it's just modern day game. Sorry, I'm going to but modern day game is just in the bin. And I know it's happened before, but it's just incredibly frustrating that this has to be factored into a conversation. But I think it will be Sheffield United, Burnley, and I do think it will be Luton. I can see. I don't want it to be Luton. I'd like Luton to stay up. I just think what Everton have done so far after a 10 points deduction. We were talking earlier about kind of stuff galvanizing teams and making them stronger. I reckon if Everton get the 6, I think it is predicted on top. I just feel like they came out of the blocks after that 10-point deduction, and I feel like again. But yeah, also, I mean, we're playing bad at the moment, but our squad is just on its arse at the moment. But we've got obviously Toney back, and Mbuemo's coming back soon. Weiss is coming back, so we've got kind of players coming back, which will almost act like new signings. So,
Hey, you got Neil Mopay. What else do you need,
mate? He's doing bits. He deserves to stay on the form he's on. But I mean, he antagonises every single person.
He's a horrible
most of his own
player to
team.
play against, man. He's just. I watch him and I laugh now. He's just absolutely. The guy is a nutter, isn't he?
He really is. Just like he's like a pantomime villain, and it's like it's weird. Brentford have never really had one of those before. Like. We had maybe a few back in the day, but yeah, you know, we've never had someone that fits that mold. And like, it's weird when you're at the pub trying to defend them, and you're just inside being like, he's such a knock. You're like, no, mate, he's class. I don't know what you're on about. Like, so that's where this season's going to be. Hopefully, survival and defending Neil Mopay to the end of the season. So what a season. But yeah, I think it'll be Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield.
Okay. So same as me then. Lastly, Dave, what are you saying, bruv?
Well, sadly for Nick, I think it'd be Sheffield United, and sadly for the amazing Natalie, I think it'd be Burnley, because I don't think Vincent has compromised his principles enough. And then logic suggests that it's us, because we'd probably like to get maybe 6, maybe. I expect it to be 6, and obviously Connor and Everton, you know, but I think there's somebody in real danger, and that somebody doesn't have my humility or Matt's humility or Emilio's humility or Connor's humility or Dave's humility or Sam's humility. And you know, I think let's put Elise on. Oh, he's injured now. That was a good decision, wasn't it? You know what I mean? I think they have a look about them, because as all 7 of us know, because we love the game and we've seen the game down the years, there's always one that thinks, it won't happen to me. I think it could happen to me. Connor thinks it could happen to him. Dave thinks it could happen to him. Matt, Emilio, Sam, we all consider it as a possibility within our football universes. But if you don't consider it, it comes to bite you right on your backside. And I think, you know, they have got an issue. You know what'll happen? Ironically, I can see it. I always said to somebody, my doomsday scenario was that it gets so bad at Palace that, you know, the Brontosaurus gets sent off to Jurassic World or whatever, and they fetch Steve in, and Steve saves them, and Forrest go down. You know what I mean? So,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, I would then be, I'd be in a world of, you know, Just Joe shows every week talking about Leeds and Forest in the Championship. You know what I mean? But I do think I've got Brentford will be fine. I think Fulham and Bournemouth are absolutely fine. They're well-run clubs. Luton. I actually thought Luton was safe at the start of the season, because they have this. They are morally impregnable. You can say things about all the other clubs. You cannot level anything at Luton Town, honestly. So I think Luton is safe. I think Sheffield United, Burnley, and Palace.
Take that, man. Listen, it's going to be interesting. Boy, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. I do need to finish because I've got to go over to Lee Judge's show. So please make sure you stay tuned, because you're going to be redirected over there, people. Big up to Dave, Owen the Town podcast. Please make sure you go follow that. Make sure you go follow Connor on all things socials. You'll see him on all Everton content as well. Please make sure you go follow Emilio over at Teddy Nello on Twitter and socials. And of course, at the Cottage Talk for all Fulham content. Make sure you go follow Dave Asprey and of course Matt for Brentford and Forest. And Back of the Net podcast, Sam, for all Bournemouth content. Listen, guys, been an absolute pleasure. Make sure you like and subscribe to this one. We're on our way to 20k people, so make sure that we can get there. Join the community. Brilliant. Let's make sure that you are all part of it, and we'll see you next time. We're out of here. Peace.